Cherry article, What is Groupthink?, introduces us to the idea that common impulses in organizations, which involve speeding up group processes and suppressing conflict, lead to poor quality decision making. The article will go into some detail on this, and it's very important to understand, what it's talking about. But basically, it ultimately causes information to not be shared, conflicting opinions to be suppressed, and this actually prevents us from getting what we want out of group decision processes, which is the use of multiple minds to solve complex problems. It talks about the sources of groupthink and the role of leadership, and people's interest in commanding the group actually tends to make groupthink worse. Um, Personally, I find groupthink so pervasive in organizations that I think one might argue that the whole purpose of it is not to make good decisions, but to actually force acquiescence with decisions favored by high-powered individuals. And that I think is just a reality, and as a result, organizations are prone to poor quality decision making, not something we have as a goal. But we don't want to give up on groups. They have tremendous potential to help us make much better decisions. In a lot of ways, I think it's a more satisfying environment to work in when there's true kind of collegiality and give and take, and you can kind of feel good about the decisions that you're making. But there are these common characteristics that very much prevent this from being how groups are used in organizations. In doing this reading, please look at and be sure you understand the distinction between the causes of groupthink and the symptoms of groupthink. So when groups are engaging in groupthink, there's a lot of kind of typical discussion and typical manifestations of groupthink. Part of it is that the consensus on the decision oftentimes is pursued to be a consensus on moral superiority, which can be highly problematic and lead groups to not fully consider the risk associated with decisions, for instance. Look for an explanation of why groupthink is bad, and possible reasons that groupthink might be an objective. Where are the instances where we'd actually might want to use a process that results in conformity? You won't see the article talking about this explicitly, but it's something that's worth thinking about. And where are the leverage points where leaders can change processes to produce better decisions? The article is predominantly just you'll see very brief explanation of what groupthink is, kind of listing of what the symptoms are, but it does give some suggestions about where leaders might intervene or run processes differently to get better quality decisions.